Friends, we gather together this morning to celebrate the life and to honor the memory of Jimmy Goldberg. Jimmy's family so very much appreciates your presence here with us at a time of difficulty in our lives, a time of grief. There is nothing more healing and more comforting than the presence of one human being to another. Your presence here makes a big difference. Adonai ma'adam v'teda ehu ben enosh v'hashvehu. O Lord, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days are like a passing shadow. We come and we go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, in the evening it fades and it withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, return, you mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. The author of the first of the Bible's 150 Psalms describes for us in language both poignant, succinct, and in some powerful sense metaphorical, the nature of the good life and the fruits of that life. Happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked, nor taken the path of sinners, nor joined the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water, that yields its fruit in its season, whose foliage never fades, and whose fruit always flourishes. Let us take comfort now together in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Kohelet, the author of the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, reminds us that for everything there is a season, a time for every experience under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Jimmy Goldberg died this past Thursday afternoon at the age of 83. He had been ailing for quite a while, and we are now grateful that he is now at peace. Jimmy was born and raised in Cleveland and graduated from Cleveland Heights High School. He earned his undergraduate degree from the Ohio State University and then his law degree from Case Western Reserve University Law School. Immediately on becoming an attorney, he joined the Weissman Law Firm and remained there for 50 years. For a long period of time, the firm was known officially by the Goldberg name as well. Jimmy, his family, told me when I visited with them this past Saturday afternoon that Jimmy was an excellent attorney, devoted to his clients. He was extremely hardworking, a great and thoroughly honest negotiator, and willing to settle cases without dragging them out. For all these many reasons, Jimmy was well respected by everyone. When I asked Jimmy's family to describe their husband, father, grandfather, father-in-law, and friend to me, they came forth with a profusion of adjectives. Adjectives that came so fast from them that I had trouble keeping up. Jimmy was, they said, kind, generous, funny, caring, protective, loving, intelligent, tough, genuine, humble, devoted, and gentle. He looked after the well-being of every person in his family, and he gave of himself with everything he had. When his father died suddenly at the age of 56, Jimmy assumed the responsibility from that moment on of caring for his widowed mother. And he did so with love and with support, both financial and personal. Indeed, he attended to her needs and desires to the end of her days. In addition, he was also devoted to his mother-in-law, Florence, and regularly helped her with her finances and also helped her financially. Now, Jimmy, I was told, was a worrier. And though this must have created some emotional strain for him, his intense concerns redounded to the benefit of his family in countless ways and for so many years. Moreover, it became clear to me in the course of our conversation, though, that Jimmy was not a religious person in, we might say, the conventional sense. He certainly embraced strong Jewish ideals of assuming the dignity of all people and of giving of himself and his treasure to the individuals he loved and to the causes and values that he always kept in mind. Now, everyone who knew Jimmy well knows that food was one of his chief loves. Food, as we all know, is not only pleasurable for the diner, him or herself, but it can also be a way to deepen relationships and to express love. And so Jimmy looked forward to sharing meals and snacks with members of his beloved family. Breakfasts and dinners and ice cream and pastries shared together. These were experiences that Jimmy cherished, and I think we all can resonate with that idea. And watching sports, as his family told me, in, I quote, in his spot on the couch. And he loved taking his stepdaughters and then his grandchildren shopping for clothes for a new school year, getting them what they needed, getting them even more than they needed. This was an adventure that Jimmy loved, and yet another way for him to care for his family. And if this were not enough, there were also, and I quote again, piles of presents for the children and grandchildren during Hanukkah. And at this point, I want to say something about the relationship that he had with his beloved wife of 51 years, Marilyn. Jimmy loved being with you, Marilyn. He doted on you, and he protected you. You enjoyed each other's company, and in the later years especially, you spent a great deal of time together. This is how you summarized it for me, Marilyn. We had a very good life. And your children and grandchildren raved about the way you took care of Jimmy, especially in the last difficult months and years. You and Jimmy were two lucky people, and he was one lucky husband. Jimmy Goldberg is survived by his wife, Marilyn, by his stepdaughters, Bonnie and Laura, by his son-in-law, Eddie, and by Laura's partner, Rob. By his grandchildren, Rachel, Hannah, Jacob, Melanie, Amanda, and Amanda's fiancé, Kyle. He was predeceased by his parents, William and Celia, and by his sister, Gloria. Jimmy Goldberg's life was centered upon two things: his work and his family. And he was extremely successful, both as an attorney and as a family man. In short, Jimmy lived a satisfying and an exemplary life. Zichrono livracha. His memory will always be our blessing. Amen. I now want to call on Jimmy's stepdaughters, Bonnie and Laura.
Me too. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Okay. I don't usually have a problem with that. Excuse me reading a little bit of this, but I just want to make sure I say everything. In my early childhood classroom, we often talk about being a mensch, a word that whenever I heard it or said it, always made me think of Jimmy, the ultimate mensch. Generous, thoughtful, kind, and humble, always willing to help, loyal, supportive, without any need for recognition, without any expectations, just being Jimmy, a true mensch. A good and honorable man who loved his family more than anything, who always made us feel loved and protected, a husband who absolutely cherished his soulmate, Marilyn, also known as Babe, Baby, and Honey. For over 51 years, they had a true love story, always showing each other respect and devotion, enjoying every day together, regardless of what they were doing, even the most ordinary things, sitting at the kitchen table, having coffee and breakfast together, while still reading the print newspaper. Always there for each other, always an example of what a marriage should be. He was her protector. The last months of Jimmy's life, my mom barely left his side. She became his protector. And while this chapter of their story has ended, their love for each other will never end. Laura and I were 5 and 6 when Jimmy came into our lives, and 7 and 8 when he and my mom got married. There was no step in the father that he was to us, loving us unconditionally as if we were his own children. And we both loved him so much, and we're so grateful and fortunate to have him as another father. Always knowing we could count on him. It's hard for all of us to imagine life without him. I'll always remember our Saturday breakfast and shopping trips, just the two of us, sorry. She was in Columbus. Birthday celebration dinners at the inner circle, as he always made every special occasion special. Jimmy trying unsuccessfully to teach me how to roller skate, and his Reuben sandwiches with salami. The countless happy memories and love for him will be with us forever. Not only was he a loving and generous, supportive father to us, but also to his 5 grandchildren, Melanie, Amanda, Rachel, Hannah, and Jacob, who he doted on when they were young with ice cream treats and gifts, and also felt so much pride in as they became adults. Never missing one of my girls' performances, always cheering on Jacob at his basketball and baseball games. We all have our special memories of Jimmy, and he made all of our lives better just being Jimmy. On a personal note, when I got married almost 30 years ago, it was my dad who walked me down the aisle. But I wanted Jimmy to have a special role as well, to be recognized for bringing so much to my life. I decided to honor him with a special dance and agonized over finding the perfect song, eventually choosing Bette Midler's The Wind Beneath My Wings. In closing, I'd like to share some of the lyrics to that song that describe what Jimmy meant to me so perfectly. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth, of course. I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I could fly higher than an eagle. For you were the wind beneath my wings. Fly, fly, fly against the sky. So high, I almost touched the sky. Thank you, thank you, thank God for you, the wind beneath my wings. I know that you will continue to watch over us. And as Jacob said to you at your bedside, you will always be very loved.
I'm making her stay up here with me. She's not allowed to leave. I share in the memories that Bonnie just talked about. I want to add a few more that I know she shares. Bonnie and I were little elementary school pesty girls when he joined our family, and despite being a single guy with no kid experience, he was quite tolerant of us. Bonnie and I came up with a nickname, Jim Jim, which he probably didn't love, but tolerated. Maybe not quite as much when we got silly and walked around singing Jim, 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 Jim. Boy, were we annoying. We were. One thing that stands out is after a long day at work and probably a crummy ride home on 480, Jimmy always walked in the house happy and smiling. He was never grumpy. Maybe a little ornery, as we know at times, but usually just a happy guy. As busy as he was always willing to help out with grocery shopping. Probably because he'd get himself a few little pastry treats and then bring some home for us, even though they were not on the list. He didn't realize this was evidence that he was at the bakery counter. If we asked my mom for something and she said no, we'd sneak into the other room and quietly ask Jimmy, but he was on to us and always said, "Go ask your mom." We have so many nice memories while growing up and as adults, too many to talk about now. He was such a good guy, and he was so good to us. I got so many texts these last few days from people saying Jimmy was the best, and he truly was the best.
This is Laura, but I'm the reader. He was a very generous guy and gave us a good life. Most importantly was how he loved my mom so much and always took care of us. In the last several years, she took over and took care of him in the most patient and tender ways. Mom, you truly are a saint, and we all know everything you did was out of genuine love for our sweet Jimmy. You two had a unique and true love story for over 50 years, and the love will go on because we will all continue to talk about him and tell stories and remember all he was to us and laugh. I speak on behalf of my mom and Bonnie and Rachel, Hannah, Jacob, Melanie, and Amanda. We'll miss you and we love you, Jim.
The voice says, cry out, and I say, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, all its beauty is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flower fades when a wind of the Lord blows upon it. Surely the people are grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God shall endure forever. Hatzur tamim pa'alo ki chal d'rachav mishpat. El emunah ve'ein abel tzadik b'yashar hu. God is sure, our immovable rock. All God's work is upright. Who can say, what is it that you do? The Eternal governs what is above and what is below, overseeing both the valleys of death and the heights of life. God is sure, our immovable rock. Who can say to God, what will you do? You are righteous in your dealings in both death and life, and every soul is in your trust. We praise you, Judge of truth, who ordains death and summons us to life. Help us to feel your presence at this time so that we may declare that God is upright, our rock in whom there is no unrighteousness. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevarach. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. We praise you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who forms us in the divine image, who nourishes and sustains us in God's goodness, who causes all of us to die, implanting immortal life within us. Baruch atah Adonai Dayan ha'emet. We praise you, O God, Judge of truth. O God of life, amid the ceaseless tides of change which sweep away the generations, your love remains to comfort us and to give us hope. Around us are life and death, decay and renewal, the flowing rhythm that all things obey. Our life is a dance to a song that we cannot hear. Its melody courses within us for a little while, then it seems to cease. Whence the melody, and whither does it go? In darkness as in light, we turn to you, the source of life, and the answer to all of life's mysteries. As you are able, I invite you please to rise. Hail Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kadoshim Utahorim Kazohar Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat Yakirenu Shahalach La'olamo, Bala Rachamim Yastireo B'Sefer Kanafav La'olamim, V'Yitzror Bitzror HaChayim Et Nishmato, Adonai hu nachalato v'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo v'nomar amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to James Jimmy Goldberg, our loved one who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say together, Amen. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision and grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under divine protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our light, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirit with abiding trust in you. And we conclude our service now with the recitation of the Kaddish. As we say together, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad divrach birutei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, ha'agala v'zman kari v'yamru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran b'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say together. Amen. And to the family we now say, may God console you with all who mourn among all the families of the earth. Now go forth in peace to life, and may God go with you. Amen. This concludes our service. We are now going to lower the casket, and then I'm going to ask the family first to place a shovelful of dirt on the casket, and then others who want to participate in this ritual may form a line and do so as well. Once again, we so much appreciate your presence here with us, which again offers the family a great deal of comfort and support.